I dreaming?
No. I'm asking you a question.
Are you serious?
Are you playing the victim card right now?
Are you serious?
Am I the reason why any of this is happening? Case in point. That's all I need to know. That's all I needed to know. That's all I need to know. That's all I need to know.
Are you serious? No.
I'm actually.
Are you serious? Are you serious right now? Are you serious right now? Are you serious?
I'll answer your question.
This is Elanie Casa, a 30-year-old mother of one who would be killed by her wife immediately after checking her phone. The early hours of November 17, 2022 was a day like any other, but for Elanie Casa, something would go terribly wrong. After dropping her daughter off at school, Ellanie simply vanished. Hours turned into days, and the silence grew deafening. It wasn't until November 27th, nearly 2 weeks later, a discovery was made that would shake everyone to their core. Ellenie's lifeless body would be found in the trunk of her wife's car, miles from their home in Dearborn, Michigan. It was a scene that would unravel a twisted story, a story that no one was prepared for. As investigators pieced together the chilling puzzle, they made a shocking revelation. Ellanie had been killed by her wife immediately after checking her phone. The very act that most of us take for granted, unlocking a screen, had sealed her fate. But what happened next would ignite a series of events so unexpected that no one could have predicted the deadly chain reaction about to unfold. This is the life and death of Elanie Casa. But before that, let me take you back to the city and how it all began. This story takes us to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, a city located in the Nashville metropolitan area, about 34 miles, 55 kilometers, southeast of downtown Nashville. This was where Ellenie's story began. Elanie Casa's journey began in heartbreak, and her resilience grew out of necessity. Born in Eritrea, Ellenie's life was marked by tragedy from a young age. At just 3 years old, she lost both of her parents, a devastating blow that forced her older brother, only 6 at the time, to step up as her protector.
When I was 6, my mother and my father died, which is Elanie was 3 years old at the time. So I remember holding her hand, my hand, tell her that our mother will come back.
Their survival instinct kicked in, and together they embarked on a life-changing journey to America, hoping for a fresh start. They settled in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, where Ellenie's tireless work ethic and determination took root as she worked toward building a better future for herself. The harsh realities of her early life drove Ellanie to pursue stability and opportunity. She was deeply motivated by the desire to create a life for her own family, one that would be free from the hardships she had endured. When Ellanie turned 25, she became a mother, and her daughter quickly became the focal point of her world.
You miss her?
Yeah, Mom, watch I do this.
Okay, can you sing her happy birthday?
Yeah, look, I do this.
Oh, okay.
Look.
Let me see.
Everything she did, every decision she made, was for her daughter, to ensure that her daughter had every opportunity Ellanie never experienced. However, Ellenie's path wasn't without its challenges. Her relationship with her daughter's father eventually ended, leaving Ellanie to raise her child as a single mother. Despite the immense pressure and responsibility of being a single parent, Ellenie's strength never wavered. Her love for her daughter was unshakable, and it was the one constant that kept her going through difficult times. But even as a devoted mother, Ellanie yearned for companionship. At 31, she decided to open her heart to love again. She began dating Dominic, who, though originally charming and attentive, began to display troubling behaviors.
Bruno in the house.
Dominic hailed from Lebanon, Tennessee, but with roots in Pontiac, Michigan. At first, Ellenie's family hoped this new relationship would bring her happiness, offering her both support and a fresh start. However, it soon became apparent that things were not as they seemed. The dynamics of Ellenie's new relationship raised alarms for those who were close to her. While Dominic's charm had initially drawn Ellanie in, her possessiveness and jealousy started to surface. As the weeks passed, these behaviors intensified, causing concern among Ellenie's family and friends. What was once seen as a promising new chapter in her life gradually became a source of deep unease. Those who observed the couple closely began to realize that this wasn't a simple love story. The tension between them grew. and Dominic's insecurities began to take a dark turn. And soon, what appeared to be minor issues at first now seemed indicative of something much more dangerous. In August 2022, things took a turn for the worst when a domestic disturbance call led police to Elanie's apartment at the Arborbrook Apartments. According to the official Murfreesboro police report, the argument started when a text message from another woman was found on Elanie's phone. Dominic had become furious. The report stated that Dominic pushed Ellanie and had slapped her, but Elanie's account of the incident revealed that the violence was far more severe. Dominic grabbed Ellanie by the neck and forcefully pushed her against a wall. This wasn't just an argument, it was an assault. Ellanie, who struggled to breathe after the attack, was taken to the hospital. Medics confirmed that her jaw was broken, and Dominic was arrested on charges of aggravated domestic assault. She spent 2 days in custody before posting bond. A no-contact order was issued, and it seemed that the legal system had intervened. Dominic was also escorted by officers to Elanie's apartment to collect her belongings. This arrest should have marked the end of a dangerous relationship. Ellanie was finally free from the violence. Or so it seemed. But as we've seen with many of our cases, domestic violence cases rarely follow such clean narratives. In the weeks that followed, Ellanie focused on rebuilding her life. With her job, her daughter, and the unwavering support of her brother, her lifelong protector, she worked hard to regain a sense of stability. Though the court order offered legal protection, but as we've come to know all too well, that, and many survivors of domestic violence can attest, a piece of paper is no guarantee of safety. And this was just the beginning of the nightmare that was about to unfold. November 17th, 2022 began like any other Thursday. Ellanie followed her usual routine: work, responsibilities, and life as a single mother. Her daughter, who was attending school, was excited to see her mother at dismissal time, as she always was. But this time something was off. Ellanie didn't show up, and for Elanie's family, this was not just unusual, it was completely out of character. This was a woman who had built her life around her daughter. Missing something as important as school pickup was an impossible scenario. Her brother immediately sensed that something terrible had happened.
Her missing like that is very not normal. She's a wonderful mother, and she is a wonderful sister, and she's just everybody's favorite person.
The missing person report was filed the next day, but by then, crucial hours had already passed. Police arrived at Elanie's apartment to investigate the situation and quickly realized that something was very wrong. Elanie's phone, keys, and car were all still in the apartment. It was as if she had simply vanished. The investigation revealed that Ellanie and Dominic had argued earlier that evening. Despite the no-contact order, Dominic had somehow gained access into Elanie's apartment, and Dominic had convinced Ellanie to leave her with her. The authorities began tracking a black Dodge Charger, a car registered to Dominic. They used automatic license plate readers to trace its movements as it left Tennessee and began heading north. For the next 10 days, Elanie's family went through unimaginable pain. Her brother, who had always been her protector, now found himself in the heartbreaking position of searching for his sister.
Her missing like that is very not normal.
He flew across the country to help. Social media became a lifeline for the family's search efforts. But while Elanie's family was posting photos, sharing information, and pleading for leads, Ellanie was being taken further and further away from everyone who loved her. As the days passed, the black Dodge Charger continued its journey. The vehicle crossed state lines, traveling hundreds of miles toward Michigan. But it wasn't just Dominic driving. There was a mysterious third person in the car, a 34-year-old woman whose identity and role in these events would become one of the most perplexing aspects of the case. Was she complicit, or was she simply an innocent bystander who got trapped in Dominic's dangerous web? These questions lingered for investigators and the public alike. Meanwhile, Elanie's absence was keenly felt in Tennessee. Her daughter, now staying with family members, continued asking heartbreaking questions about when her mother would come home. Her co-workers noticed her absence from work, and her community grew more anxious with each passing day. Meanwhile, the Dodge Charger pressed onward, heading north toward Michigan, Dominic's home state. As the vehicle entered Pontiac, a city with deep ties to Dominic's past, its movements were tracked by license plate readers.
Day 4 in the search for a missing mother, Elanie Casa, vanished last Wednesday. Murfreesboro police say she never picked up her daughter from school, and tonight they say a license plate belonging to the car she might be in was flagged in another state. Here's News 2's Allie Lynch.
The vehicle made its way through Oakland County, bringing it dangerously close to Detroit's busy, populated areas, an ominous sign that things were escalating and the threat was nearing a breaking point. On November 27, 2022, exactly 10 days after Ellanie was reported missing, the case took a devastating turn. During a traffic stop, officers spotted the black Dodge Charger, and they immediately recognized it from the multi-state search. But when they attempted to stop the vehicle, Dominic would make a chilling decision. She fled, leading police on a high-speed chase through residential streets. The pursuit ended when Dominic lost control of the car and crashed into a house.
The Charger raced through streets. The chase was short, but intense. Dominique's desperate flight ended when she lost control of the vehicle, crashing into a house on Tireman and Normill streets in Detroit. The impact was severe enough to damage the car and trap the occupants inside.
As officers approached the wrecked vehicle, they were expecting to find the missing woman and her abductor, but what they encountered was far more horrifying than they could have imagined.
They were expecting to find a missing woman and her abductor.
Until yesterday, Dearborn police got an alert from Flock license reader that it was in the area and pulled over the driver.
The driver pulled away. As they pulled away, Dearborn started to pursue them, lost sight of them, terminated their pursuit.
While some details remain unclear, what is known is that Dominic was found dead from a gunshot wound to the head.
But the most shocking discovery, however, came when police opened the trunk. As officers identified the lifeless body of Dominique Hardwick, their attention shifted to the passenger seat. There, a 34-year-old woman was found, injured but alive. She was quickly taken to the hospital for treatment. But the real discovery came when police opened the trunk of the Dodge Charger. Inside, the lifeless body of Elanie Casa was discovered, neatly tucked away, hidden from view. The discovery of her body sent waves of disbelief through both communities. Murfreesboro, where Elanie was loved and missed, and Detroit, where the final moments of the car chase had played out on the streets.
I felt like the house shake because it was so loud.
Somebody that's from another state, and they end up here.
One of several questions we worked to get answers to for residents on both sides of Tireman near Wyoming Avenue, who were surprised to learn just how detailed this tragedy is.
The discovery of Elanie's body marked the end of the 10-day search, but it was just the beginning of many more questions.
The body of a missing Middle Tennessee woman was found in the trunk of a crashed car in Detroit. Michigan police and Murfreesboro police identified that woman as Elanie Casa. She disappeared on November 17th after her family said she never picked up her daughter from school. Officers say they chased her girlfriend's car in Michigan. Her girlfriend eventually crashed and then got into a shootout with police, according to authorities. They say Hardwick and Casa were both found dead in that car. Police say the investigation into why the victim was in Michigan is ongoing.
Why had Dominique taken Elanie across state lines? What had happened in the days leading up to Elanie's disappearance? How had Dominique managed to violate the court-ordered no-contact order and convince Elanie to leave her apartment despite the protective measures in place? The tragic conclusion in Michigan raised even more concerning questions about the mysterious third passenger in the car. Who was she? What role had she played in these events? As the investigation into Elanie's death continued, all eyes turned to the woman who had been in the car with Dominique and Elanie. Initially, her identity remained unknown, but as detectives worked around the clock, they began piecing together the details. The woman, later identified as 34-year-old Carla Hayes, had been traveling with Dominique and Elanie during their journey from Tennessee to Michigan. Carla, who had known Dominique from previous interactions, appeared to have been swept into the situation under mysterious circumstances. But the crucial question remained: was she complicit in what happened to Elanie, or was she simply an innocent bystander who got caught in the web of Dominique's obsession? Authorities quickly realized that Carla Hayes may play a pivotal role in understanding the full scope of the tragedy. The investigation focused on her relationship with Dominic, her presence in the car, and any information she might hold that could explain the tragic events. What was her involvement in the final moments before Elani's life was stolen from her? Could Carla provide investigators with critical details about Dominic's motives and actions leading up to the fatal moments of Elani's life? The investigation into Carla's role continued to develop as police gathered evidence and questioned her further, while it was still unclear whether she had any direct involvement in Elani's death or not. As investigators dug deeper into Dominic Hardwick's history, a troubling pattern began to emerge. Dominic wasn't just a partner to Elanie, she was someone with a history of violence. The tragic end to Elani's life wasn't the first time Dominic's relationships had ended in violence.
A Facebook post from Carolyn Sheba Perez began circulating that contained allegations. Perez claimed that Dominic had been responsible for another tragic incident, that of her son, Stephen T. Brown, in March 2021. In her emotional Facebook post, Perez wrote, "This is what hurt my son, Stephen T. Brown, March 2021, and Elanie Casa, most recently. Blessings and peace to their souls, for they are not here, but forever in our hearts."
A Facebook post from Carolyn Sheba Perez, a grieving mother, began circulating shortly after Elani's body was discovered. In her post, Perez alleged that Dominic had been responsible for her son, Stephen T. Brown's death in March 2021. Carolyn claimed that Stephen had been shot twice and left for dead at Dominic's residence in Michigan. Despite being shot, he was reportedly left alone for hours before Dominic and her wife went to the police to report the incident. These allegations, if true, revealed a pattern of violence and manipulation. Dominic's history seemed to paint a picture of a woman who used control and threats to manipulate those around her, ultimately leading to tragic consequences. Could this be the case with Elanie as well? Was Dominic's obsessive behavior tied to a history of violence and tragedy? While these claims remained unverified by law enforcement, the post sparked widespread attention and added to the mounting suspicions surrounding Dominic's actions. If Dominic had been responsible for a violent death in the past, it raised the chilling possibility that Elani's death was part of a larger, more dangerous pattern of behavior.
This is Elanie Casa, a 30-year-old mother of one who would be killed by her wife immediately after checking her phone. Early hours of November 17, 2022 was a day like any, but for Elanie Casa, something would go terribly wrong. After dropping her daughter off at school, Elanie simply vanished. Hours turned into days, and the silence grew deafening. It wasn't until November 27th, weeks later, a discovery was made that would shake everyone to their core. Elanie's lifeless body found in the trunk of her wife's car, miles from their home in Dearborn, Michigan. It was a scene that would unravel a story that no one was prepared for. Readers pieced together the chilling puzzle. They made a shocking revelation. Elanie had been killed wife immediately after checking on. The very act that most of us take for granted, unlocking a screen, had sealed her fate. But what happened next would ignite a deadly chain reaction about to unfold. This is the death of Elanie Casa. But before that, let me take you back how it all began. This story takes us to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, a city located in the Nashville metropolitan area, about 34 miles, 55 kilometers south of Nashville. This was where Elanie's story began. Elanie Casa's journey began in heartbreak. Resilience grew out of necessity. Born in Elanie's life was marked by tragedy from a young age. At just 3 years old, she lost both of her parents, a devastating blow that forced her older brother, only 6, to step up as her protector. Their survival instinct kicked in, and together they embarked on a life-changing journey to America, hoping for a fresh start. They settled in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, where as the investigation into Elanie's death continues, the pursuit of justice remains a focal point for her family and community. While the pieces of the puzzle are slowly coming together, there are still many questions that remain unanswered. The truth about what truly happened to Elanie and the role Dominic and Carla played will hopefully be revealed in the coming months. Until then, her family's fight for justice endures.
Let's continue to honor Elanie's memory, raise awareness, and support those affected by domestic violence. If you or someone you know is experiencing abuse, please reach out for help. There are resources available to provide support and help break the cycle of violence. What do you think about it? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this story intriguing, please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.